The morning sun barely crept over the quiet suburb of Ashfield when Michael Turner loaded his old Ford truck with lumber. The former Army medic had been living a simple life since returning home from deployment, raising his 10-year-old son, Jack, and working part-time as a handyman. It wasn't glamorous, but it was peaceful. After years of chaos overseas, peace was all he wanted. That peace was shattered one Saturday afternoon when two little girls, identical twins, maybe 7 or 8 years old, ran toward his house, their faces pale, clothes smeared with dirt, and tears streaking down their cheeks. "Please help us," the smaller twin gasped. "Our mom, she's not waking up." Michael dropped his toolbox instantly. "Where is she?" They pointed toward the small forest trail behind the neighborhood park. Without hesitation, Michael grabbed his medical kit from the truck. "Jack, stay here," he ordered, sprinting toward the woods. The girls led him through the path, crying as they ran. When they reached a clearing, a black SUV sat half off the dirt road, its door open. A woman lay on the ground beside it, unconscious, barely breathing. Her skin was pale, lips bluish, and one of her hands clutched her chest. Michael dropped to his knees. "I'm Michael. I'm going to help your mom, okay? What's her name?" "Rebecca," said one of the girls, trembling. "She just fell over. We tried to wake her up, she wouldn't move." Michael's training kicked in. He checked her pulse, weak and irregular. Her pupils reacted slowly. "Cardiac arrest," he muttered. He opened his kit and started CPR, counting compressions under his breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. After 2 rounds, he pulled out a portable AED, a habit he'd never broken since the army. He attached the pads to her chest, pressed the button, and waited. The machine's voice blared, shock advised. "Step back," he said, pressing the button. Rebecca's body jerked once. Michael continued compressions. "Come on, come on." On the third shock, her chest rose suddenly, she gasped for air. The twins screamed in relief. "It's okay," Michael said, steadying her head. "You're going to be fine." Rebecca coughed weakly. "My girls. They're safe," Michael reassured her. "Help's on the way." He'd already called 911 through his headset while doing compressions. Within minutes, the sirens grew louder. Paramedics arrived, and as they loaded Rebecca into the ambulance, one EMT, a young guy, looked at Michael's setup. "You saved her life, sir." "That's textbook trauma response." Michael nodded modestly. "Just doing what I was trained to do." As the ambulance drove away, the girls clung to his legs. "Thank you, mister," one whispered. "You saved mommy." He smiled softly. "Your mom's strong. She's gonna pull through. .. Later that evening, Michael sat on his porch, trying to settle his nerves. The image of the woman's face, Rebecca, stayed with him. He hadn't felt that surge of purpose in years. His phone buzzed, a call from an unknown number. "Mr. Turner," said a calm but authoritative voice. "This is Detective Harris, Ashfield PD. The woman you helped, Rebecca Langford, she's the CEO of Langford Tech." Michael frowned. "I didn't know that. She's stable now. She asked for you personally. Said she wants to thank you." Michael hesitated. "Sure. Just tell me when. .. The next day, he visited the hospital. Rebecca was sitting up in bed, color returned to her cheeks. The twins were asleep beside her, curled up together. When she saw Michael, her eyes softened. "You're the man who saved me." He smiled awkwardly. "Just right place, right time." "No," she said firmly. "You brought me back from the dead. The doctors said I went into full cardiac arrest. Without you," she paused, voice trembling. "My girls would be orphans." Michael looked down. "I'm just glad I could help." Rebecca studied him for a long moment. "You're a veteran, aren't you?" "Yes, ma'am. Army medic. 15 years. Her expression brightened. "That explains it. The precision, the calm. You're not just a handyman, are you?" He chuckled. "That's what I do now. Keeps me grounded." Rebecca smiled faintly. "You're modest. I could use people like you." He didn't think much of it at the time. But a week later, Rebecca showed up at his doorstep, dressed in casual jeans, holding coffee, her daughters beside her. "I didn't come to hire you," she said. "I came to thank you properly." "You already did," Michael replied. "Not enough," she insisted. "I want you to work for me. Head of security at Langford Tech." He blinked. "Ma'am, I'm not." You are, she interrupted. You saved my life without hesitation. You didn't know who I was. You just acted. That's the kind of person I need watching over my people. He hesitated. It's been years since I wore a uniform. Then wear a suit, she said with a small smile. But don't say no yet. Just think about it. By the end of the month, Michael had accepted. Not because of the salary, though it was generous, but because of something in Rebecca's eyes. Gratitude, yes, but also loneliness. Langford Tech was a massive company specializing in AI systems. Michael's role wasn't just about protecting the building, it was about restructuring the whole security division. His quiet discipline impressed everyone, and within weeks, incidents dropped. Rebecca often invited him for coffee in her office. You remind me of what leadership used to mean, she once said. Before everything became about money. Michael smiled. In the army, leadership meant you ate last. She laughed softly. Maybe that's why I'm tired of boardrooms. Everyone eats first there. Their friendship grew naturally. The twins adored him, too. They'd visit his house on weekends, playing with Jack and his dog, Max. Soon, Michael found himself part of a family again, a feeling he hadn't had since his wife died 5 years ago. But peace never lasts long. One evening, as Michael was closing the office, he noticed strange entries in the building's security logs, unauthorized access to the R&D floor. Cameras showed a shadowy figure entering after hours. The next day, he told Rebecca, "You've got a breach. Someone inside's leaking data." Rebecca's expression hardened. "That's impossible. Those files are restricted to 4 executives, and me. Then one of them's compromised," Michael said. She sighed. "We've had competitors trying to steal our AI code for months." "I'll handle it," he assured her. Michael spent nights combing through footage and data trails. Eventually, he found it. A senior VP, Harold Monroe, had been accessing servers remotely. When Michael confronted him, Harold smirked. "You're just a hired soldier, Turner. Don't play detective." "Funny thing," Michael said calmly. "I was trained to patch wounds and find who caused them." Within a week, Harold was caught transferring files to an offshore account. Rebecca fired him publicly, defending Michael in front of the entire board. Afterward, she met him in her office, eyes glowing with pride. "You saved me again," she said. He shook his head. "Just doing my job." But deep down, both knew it was more than that. Weeks later, tragedy struck again. Michael received a panicked call from one of Rebecca's daughters, Ellie. "Mom collapsed again. Please hurry." He raced to their mansion. Rebecca was unconscious on the floor, same symptoms as before, but worse. The twins were sobbing, holding her hands. Michael knelt, heart pounding. "Ellie, Lily, back up." He checked her pulse, faint but present. Then he noticed something unusual. Her pupils weren't just slow, they were uneven. He frowned. "This isn't cardiac. It's neurological." He shined a flashlight in her eyes, then spotted a small puncture mark on her neck. His stomach dropped. "She's been drugged." He called 911, then secured the girls in another room. He grabbed a flashlight and checked the perimeter. The back door was slightly open, signs of forced entry. The paramedics arrived moments later, and Rebecca was rushed to the ICU. Detective Harris met Michael outside the hospital. "We found traces of a rare neurotoxin in her system. Not something you get over the counter." Michael's jaw clenched. "You think this was an attack?" Harris nodded grimly. "Professional job. Whoever did it knew her schedule." Michael thought about the recent security breach. Harold Monroe had been fired, but maybe he wasn't done. He spent the next 48 hours digging through contacts from his military network, calling in favors. When one old buddy, a former intelligence analyst, found the toxin's signature linked to a black market supplier, the trail pointed straight to a corporate hit team hired by Langford Tech's main competitor. Michael didn't tell the police yet. He needed proof. That night, he staked out Rebecca's mansion alone. Around midnight, a van pulled up. 2 men in masks crept toward the side door. Michael moved silently, slipping from the shadows. When one man picked the lock, Michael struck, disarming him in seconds, snapping his wrist, and tackling the second. The fight was brutal but quick. Michael's training, hidden from most of the world, surfaced like muscle memory. When the police arrived, both intruders were restrained. Inside their van, officers found vials of the same toxin and documents linking them to Harold Monroe's offshore accounts. The next morning, news headlines exploded. Attempted assassination on CEO Rebecca Langford foiled by ex-soldier. Rebecca woke in the hospital later that day, weak but alive. Her first words were, "My girls, are they safe?" Michael smiled. "They're fine. And so are you. It's over." Tears filled her eyes. You saved us again. I don't even know how to thank you." He sat by her bed. "You don't have to. Just get better." Weeks passed. Rebecca recovered slowly, and Michael stayed close, helping with the twins, guarding the house until the company hired a full protection detail. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Rebecca invited him to dinner with her and the girls. After the meal, she looked at him quietly. "You've done more for us than anyone ever has," she said. "You've been my protector, my friend, and the girls' hero." Michael smiled faintly. "I just did what anyone would." "No," she said softly. "Not everyone risks their life twice for someone they barely knew." He looked at her, really looked. The woman who once seemed untouchable, a CEO, polished and distant, was now just a mother, grateful and human. "I lost my wife 5 years ago," he admitted quietly. "Since then, I've only lived for my son. But your girls, they reminded me what family feels like." Rebecca reached across the table, her hand trembling. "Maybe it's time you stopped just surviving, Michael." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then one of the twins, Lily, peeked from the hallway and said innocently, "Mom, are you gonna marry Mr. Turner?" Rebecca's cheeks flushed. "Lily." Michael chuckled softly. "One step at a time, sweetheart." The twins giggled and ran off. Rebecca shook her head, smiling. Months later, the Langford Tech Security Division became one of the best in the country, led by Michael Turner. The story of how a single-dad veteran saved a CEO and her children twice became local legend. But to Michael, it wasn't about fame. It was about purpose, something he'd thought he'd lost after the war. One evening, he watched the twins and Jack playing in the yard. Rebecca stood beside him, a cup of coffee in hand. "They look happy," she said. "So do you," he replied. She smiled. "I guess we both found something we weren't looking for." Michael looked at her, then at the sunset. "Maybe some battles are worth fighting after all." She nodded softly. "And maybe some heroes don't need medals, they just need a reason to come home." As the kids' laughter echoed through the golden evening, Michael Turner finally felt something he hadn't in years. Peace. And this time, he wasn't alone. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.